How is it going, everybody? Welcome back to the That's Debatable podcast. Hopefully, you all are having a wonderful day, and if you are not, you already know you have come to the right place. I feel like I haven't been here in a while, man. I apologize for all the breaks. This is probably going up on YouTube. I'm not sure if I'll have the time to get up a reaction video. If I do, I will get it out for y'all, though. But yeah, this is most likely going up on YouTube as well, so don't you guys worry. All my podcast episodes are on IGTV. For Facebook, guys, it's always on my feed. You just go scroll through. But yeah, man. I don't know what episode of the podcast this is. That's why I don't say the episodes anymore, because I don't know. I think we're on like 119 or whatever. But yeah, we got some basketball to talk about today. I watched, for those of my WWE fans, I watched a little bit of Hell in a Cell. I watched like the ending of Hell in a Cell last night, and it was just how I expected. It wasn't pleasant. Obviously, the main event didn't end like how I wanted to. It was a good match. I don't like the rivalry, the prolonging rivalry of Lashley and McIntyre, but it's WWE. They love to prolong matches and have rematch after rematch, like how they've done with Cesaro and Rollins, which I think also ended in a roll up. So that was terrible. But yeah, we're gonna get into the first question of the day. So yeah, the 76ers took an L to the Atlanta Hawks in 7 games, which, you know, obviously nobody saw it coming. We all picked the Sixers to win. Some people wanted the Hawks to win. You guys got your wish. But the question here is, who looks worse here? Horrible ending. Yeah, I know. Terrible. Who looks worse here? Doc Rivers or Ben Simmons? Look, there's no doubt that Doc Rivers looks bad today. There's no doubt about that, because when your former team in the Los Angeles Clippers have gone to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in franchise history, and it's Tyronn Lue's first season there, and you couldn't get it done in 7 seasons, there's a little bit of controversy there. Ty Lue got them to the conference finals within their first year, right? So there is a little bit of heat on Doc Rivers right now. But I'm looking fully at Ben Simmons right now. I'm looking at Ben Simmons. This is on Ben Simmons. I'm sorry to say. Look, Ben Simmons is a talent. I mean, this guy isn't a scrub whatsoever. He's not a scrub at all. I continuously say that he's a jump shot away from being a LeBron 2.0. And I really do believe that. This guy can play. He can get in the paint. But look, he's got to go. Ben Simmons has to go. Because he can't be in Philadelphia anymore. I know Philadelphia. I know people that are from Philadelphia, and man, they are not going to let him forget about what he did in Game 7. Not just the series. The series is a completely different story. Game 7, wide open dunk. You have Trae Young on you, who was how many inches shorter than you? You could have dunked it, but you were scared that you were going to get fouled and get sent to the free throw line. We know you're a horrible free throw shooter. We know that you have a worse free throw percentage than Wilt Chamberlain and Shaq. That's a fact. We know that. So you're scared to go to the line. The fact that, Wilt Chamberlain and Shaq have shot better from the free throw line than Ben Simmons is saying something, right? I've brought this up continuously. What are you doing in the offseason, right? What are you really doing in the offseason? Are you working on your jump shot, or are you just continuously working on your paint, in the paint, right? Clearly you were not taking the Atlanta Hawks seriously, because I literally just watched a clip before I got on the podcast that you were streaming the night before and said, oh, you can take your time. We got the Hawks tomorrow. And you get beaten at Game 7 and you keep passing the ball because you're scared to go to the free throw line. That right there is karma, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly what I call karma, right? Some people were saying this, and I'm going to say it, Ben Simmons should be traded. Ben Simmons has got to go. And a couple people were saying that he should go to Portland. I'm down for that, because I think he should be traded for a CJ McCollum because when you look at, I've brought up continuously the how undersized Dame and CJ are. If Ben goes there, I think it'll be good because he has Dame there to hit the perimeter shots, right? He can really rely on them. He can really rely on him in Portland. But in Philadelphia, man, you might as well leave because those fans are going to make sure you don't forget. They might boo you in your own arena because of what you did in this series. They might boo. You lost to the 5th seed. You are the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and you get beat by the 5th seed Atlanta Hawks, right? You get beat by Trae Young, who you're scared to dunk over. You're scared to get fouled by because you don't want to go to the line. I am looking fully at 100% at Ben Simmons, even though we should look at Doc Rivers a little bit because the Clippers did go to the conference finals and he couldn't get that done in the 7 years he was there, and Ty Lue got that done in his first year he's there. But we're looking at Ben Simmons here. Everybody today is looking at Ben Simmons because of how horrible he played in this series and Game 7. The whole series he played terrible. That's what we're looking at here. So I'm putting this on Ben Simmons. He's got to go. Which team needs a starter to return the most, the Suns or the Clippers? The Clippers, 100%. I think that if Kawhi Leonard, I think that the Suns could beat the Clippers if they don't have Kawhi Leonard. The Clippers are not winning this without Kawhi. If Kawhi doesn't come back and CP3 doesn't come back, the Suns can win this series still. That is how good this Suns team is, right? And I'm going to bring up a point just now, but first we're going to point out this game, obviously. Paul George played well. He played very well. Obviously, it was not enough, but he showed up. We can't call him Pandemic P anymore because he's showing up. He's showing out. He's doing what he does, right? He's one of the best two-way players this game's seen, right? He just needed time to show what he could do, and he's been showing that, right? He's been shooting well from the field. Terrence Mann in that Game 7, was terrific. He was absolutely terrific, right? There's no doubt about that they played phenomenally well. Game 6. Game 6, I'm pretty sure it was. He played phenomenal, right? He played very good. This kid coming out of, Florida State, I'm pretty sure it is, playing absolutely well. He's playing very, very well. Paul George, Ibaka, Ibaka's not getting that much play. I'm sorry, Zubac, obviously needs to work in the paint a little more. But, Devin Booker, man, this kid is something else. He's going to be the reason why the Suns win this series if Kawhi doesn't come back. If Kawhi doesn't come back, the Suns are winning this. They could very well sweep the Clippers if Kawhi doesn't come back, if this kid keeps playing like this. I believe it was Stephen A. who said it this morning. Somebody on ESPN said it this morning. Devin Booker is the next Kobe Bryant. I have seen it enough, and I've been holding back on saying it because I wanted to see it. His first conference finals game, he drops a 40-point triple-double. If that doesn't remind you of the Mamba, I don't know what is. This guy, the way he plays, right, tad bit better three-point shooter than Kobe was, right? He is the next Kobe Bryant. I think that's what we can look at him as because this kid is special, right? He doesn't seem too injury-prone, and I don't want to jinx anything on him because I really, really like seeing this kid play. He's very talented, right? He is the next Kobe Bryant. Devin Booker is the next Mamba, right? Kobe's looking down very proud. I posted on my story a few weeks ago. He is very proud looking down right now. I know that for a fact. He's mentored Devin Booker, right? And for him, to show up, against the Lakers in Staples Center, how he did in the previous rounds, and how he did in Game 1 of the conference finals was absolutely terrific. And so I'm definitely looking at him as the next Kobe Bryant. Somebody on ESPN said it this morning. I can't remember if it was Stephen A. or if it was somebody else, but definitely the next Kobe, 100%. So like I said, I don't think that the Clippers are winning this series if they don't have Kawhi. If Kawhi's not there, the Suns will win this even without Chris Paul. Because you know who they have? They have Devin Booker. They also have a very, very good young squad. When you look at the Cameron Paynes, the Bridges, the DeAndre Ayton, who's overlooked, right? He had a pretty decent game as well. He's been having a good playoffs. But Devin Booker completely outshining everybody. You can't guard this guy. The only guy that can probably guard him is Kawhi Leonard, and who is not on the floor, right? You cannot guard Devin Booker. It is nearly impossible to guard this brother. So, yeah. Next Kobe. I'm saying it right now. I'm saying it in front of all of you guys. He is the next Kobe Bryant. And the Suns will win the series if Kawhi is not healthy. So, next question. This is a debate that's been flying around. People have been asking me. So, I'm going to answer it here. Has KD passed LeBron as the best player in the world? Look. Resume goes to LeBron. Resume 100% goes to LeBron. I'm looking at this as a talent. Kevin Durant, talent-wise, is better. Kevin Durant, from a talent perspective, is the best player in the world right now. And for anybody that is blaming this series loss on Kevin Durant knows nothing about basketball. Nothing. All you can really say is the last shot he took, and which I'm going to get into. Don't you worry about that. I'm going to get into that because that shot wasn't even his fault. That was not his fault. I'm going to get into that, right? But in terms of resume, LeBron is KD still has some work to do, right? He has a lot of work to do in terms of resume. But in terms of talent, give me another guy that's near 7-footer that can handle the ball, that can shoot, that can defend, that can do almost everything. Shooting, I take KD. Ball handling, I take KD, right? LeBron's not that much of a consistent defender, right? KD is. He can defend the basketball. He can do it all. He's athletic. Tell me another thing. Tell me somebody who's come off an 18-month layoff, an Achilles tear, and started to average 30 right out the bat. Right off the gate. Averaging 30 off an Achilles tear, right? Not even Kobe Bryant did that, right? I'm just going to bring that up. Not even Kobe did that. But that's what I'm saying. I think from a talent-wise, Kevin Durant is the best player in the world. Resume is a whole different thing, but I think he can catch up to that. I really think he can. But I'm looking at this as a talent perspective. Kevin Durant is the best player in the world. Next question. 5 reasons why the Nets were sent home. So I got a list here for you guys. 5 reasons why the Nets were sent home. Number 5, Giannis showed up. Giannis 100% showed up. The way that this guy has been playing in the playoffs, we've been saying that he's been choking in the playoffs these past few years, in which he has, but this playoffs is completely different. He's been playing very, very well. I mean, he came out in Game 7 and dropped 40 on Kevin Durant. He didn't let the bright lights affect him this time around, right? He's back in the conference finals, and for a reason, because he showed up, his teammates showed up, but more importantly, when Giannis shows up, it is hard to stop. When he gets going, it is hard to stop, and we've seen it in this series. Number 4, Kyrie Irving was injured. There's no doubt about that. If Kyrie was healthy, that the Nets would have won this series. I was on record saying that they needed both Kyrie and Harden to win this series. I think they could potentially have got it done in 7, a few mishaps, and I'm going to get into that in this list. But yeah, Kyrie injured. Number 3, Joe Harris. Don't get me started on Joe Harris, man. You're there to hit open threes, right? Best percentage three-pointer, best three-point percentage in the league for what? I mean, come on now. You're there to hit open threes. Bail Kevin Durant out for a minute. Bail him out for a few possessions. Wide open 3. That probably would have changed the whole complexion of the game. You're wide open. Kevin Durant tosses it to you because I think he falls down. He tosses it to you. You shoot, you brick it. You miss it. Right? Don't get me started on Joe Harris, man. Don't. Number 2, Steve Nash. Man, this is what I'm talking about. The reason you could have called the timeout. That way, you would have given gave Kevin Durant a little bit of rest, right? Game 5, playing all 48 minutes, right? Now in Game 7, playing a 53 minutes straight, you couldn't call a timeout to give him a little bit of a rest, because if he had a rest, he probably wouldn't have airballed that shot, or probably would have taken a better one, right? Call that timeouts. That's where the rookie coaching comes into play, right? This leads me to my next point. Number 1, karma, right? Oh, Kyrie Irving saying, we don't need a head coach. We got all the talent in the world. We got a crew, right? We got the best crew in the league. We don't need a coaching. Well, we'll sign off on Steve Nash and we're fine there, right? He'll know somewhat what he's doing, right? Karma, right? Kevin Durant adapted that same mindset that you don't need a coach. I'm Kevin Durant. He's Kyrie Irving. He's James Harden, right? James Harden leaving Houston, demanding out of Houston to go to the Brooklyn Nets to get an easy ring, right? And look what happened. You think if James Harden didn't come to the season out of shape, he would have had that hamstring injury? I don't think so. You think if, Kyrie, karma has a lot to do with this. You think Kyrie wouldn't have got injured if he hadn't talked to the media like that? If he didn't, say we don't need a coach, all that stuff? This is karma. That's karma, right? And that is exactly what happens, right? Oh, we don't need coaching. We don't need to talk to the media, all this and that. We're the better New York team. Well, guess what? Both New York teams are out of the playoffs. Now, one of y'all reached the conference finals. Both y'all are out, and that's karma right there. And so that is the 5 reasons why they lost. That is the 5 reasons why they lost here. And so that's all I got to say for that. And we're still talking about the Nets. And the last question of the day, what is the biggest reason the Nets are out? The biggest reason the Nets are out, and I'm going to go to this even though this was kind of my second point, Steve Nash, coaching. There were so many substitutions that he should have made. So many timeouts he should have called, right? So many lineups that should have been in there that weren't, right? When you talk about Kevin Durant playing 53 minutes straight and not calling a timeout to give the guy a little bit of a break, not even a couple seconds. Call a timeout in that position. You could have easily drawn up an inbound play that could have given you all the time. Kevin Durant would have had a little more energy to sit down, take a breather, right? Man, okay, I catch the ball. You draw up a play there. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Some people didn't notice that because they didn't even realize that the Nets had a timeout. They did, and Steve Nash knew that, but nope, didn't call a timeout. Kevin Durant fadeaway air ball. If Steve Nash called a timeout, I don't think that air ball happens. I think KD hits the game winner, and the Nets are going to the conference finals. I really do think that, right? Or it would have been a better shot. It would have been a way better shot, right? You got to call a timeout in that position. I'm blaming this strictly on coaching, and that's it. And also karma, obviously karma, like I mentioned, but coaching was bad. The coaching was bad. KD and Kyrie signed off on this. They signed off on Steve Nash. And I was the one to tell you guys before the season started, man, I don't know how I feel about this. Obviously, they have all the talent in the world. But, I don't know how I feel about the head coaching position. And it proved me right. Injuries happened, right? When that happens, that's when coaching becomes, good. You should know, Kyrie, man, come on. You should know KD coming off an Achilles tear. You sometimes get injured a lot. Now you bring Harden. Obviously, Harden was brought in afterwards. But you and KD, sometimes you guys get injured. Or you guys like to load management a lot, right? You guys like to sit out a lot. You guys like to not speak to the media a lot, right? And so you should have gotten a coach, right? Like a Tyronn Lue that could have been there, right? So like a Mark Jackson that could have been, a Jeff Van Gundy that could have been there even, right? I know I'm on the record of saying there should be more college coaches in the NBA, but somebody who has that experience, right? Somebody who has that experience to coach you in times like that, because look, you're home. You're watching the playoffs with the rest of us now because of Steve Nash, not being able to coach it properly. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it how it is. I see it how it is. I'm going to say it exactly like that. Steve Nash choked in the coaching. He couldn't coach it properly, right? He didn't know what to do. Those memes saying, oh, thank you, Kevin Durant, I don't know what I'm doing, are true. They are true because he's a rookie coach. He's never coached on any level before. And he all of a sudden gets this coaching gig. For what reason? You've never coached. All you've done, you were a phenomenal player. There's no doubt about that. But you've never coached on any level, and you get a job like this, right? And it goes to show how important coaching is, right? And so that's all I gotta say. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the chat right now. But that is the final question of the day. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I'm sweating a little bit. I need to take a shower, man. But yeah, I'll see you guys here in the next podcast, hopefully tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. Take it easy, y'all. Stay cool. Stay safe. I'm gone. Peace. Thank you, everybody who watched on Instagram, too.